And that was when he was trying to sign a nuclear deal with Iran to take the threat of war against them over the fake threat that they were making nuclear weapons, when in fact they never were. But when he wanted to pass a nuclear deal to completely discount that threat and remove that threat of war over Iran's nuclear program, he had to make it up to the Saudis somehow. And so he made it up to them by helping them launch a war of treason and genocide in the nation state of Yemen. It was the poorest and weakest country in the Middle East. And you might remember that Barack Obama started out fighting against Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Now these guys aren't Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda linked nobodies from nowhere. These guys are real Al-Qaeda terrorists. These guys had bombed the coal. These guys had helped to coordinate the September 11th attack on our country. They had tried to blow up a plane over Detroit on Christmas Day 2009 with the underpants bomb, and they had done the printer cartridge explosives plot to blow up a plane over Europe as well. Later on, they did the Brussels, 2 Paris attacks, and the Nice, France attack of the 2000 teens. These are real dangerous Al-Qaeda terrorists. And Obama was bombing them. But the government that he was bribing to let him do that ended up falling in the Arab Spring. I know I'm running out of time. I'll go fast here. One, to skip a couple politics, and a Shiite group allied with Iran came out of the north and seized the capital city at the end of 2014, Sana'a, the capital city. And at the time, our current Secretary of Defense under Joe Biden, General Lloyd Austin, he was a 4-star general in charge of Central Command. And it was in the Wall Street Journal and in Al Monitor because the Deputy Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Michael Vickers, had given a presentation at the Atlantic Council where he explained they were aligning with the Houthis. You guys like killing Al-Qaeda? Fine. They were giving them intelligence to kill AQAP. That's in January of 2015. Just 2 months later, Barack Obama turned around, stabbed the Houthis in the back, and took Al-Qaeda's side against them. Al-Qaeda and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. That was 6.25 years ago. Hundreds of thousands of innocent people have died in this war. And the reason why is because this country was already the poorest country in the Middle East and greatly dependent on foreign imports for their food. And the U.S. Navy, under Barack Obama, had been essentially helping the Saudis enforce the blockade, the total air and sea blockade in the country. And the last numbers we got from the United Nations was 2.5 years ago, the end of 2018. They said that 250,000 people had already died, most of them children. This includes the worst cholera outbreaks in recorded history, meaning since World War II anyway, which means worse than what the UN did in Haiti, and means worse than Walter Mondale and Bill Clinton's blockade against the Iraqis, where they also had horrible cholera outbreaks there. Hundreds of thousands of innocent people dying in a war where you literally have Al-Qaeda guys fighting with American planes as air cover for. And the war continues to this day. Joe Biden, of course, Hillary Clinton won by 50 points because the Russians helped win the election for her in 2016. She continued this horrible policy for 4 years. So somebody shamed her into going home. And then Joe Biden came into power and he promised to end the war and he didn't. And America still, as they called it in the Obama years, leading from behind. Meaning we supply all the bombs and all the planes and all the maintenance and all the logistics and all the intelligence. But any negative consequences from the war or any civilian casualties are all somebody else's fault. And so the war continues. And so that's a short history of how the Democrats have completely screwed us for the last 40 years. They created this menace. They turned them against us. They absolutely failed to protect us from the terrorists that they had turned against us. And then they exploited their violence, a massive bait and switch mission for 20 years straight now, where 9 times out of 10 they have taken Al-Qaeda's side against the people that they hate the most. the Iranians and their Shiite allies, who did not attack us on September 11th, and we're in no way responsible for that. But just over a grudge because they declared independence from us back in '79. And that's it. So the word is treason. And I'm way over time. Thank you so much, everybody.